Chair, RB, last year when I made this report, I told you all that I hadn't been expecting to make it, and that was true. It's also true to say this year that I didn't expect to stay on quite so long in the role and later to be elected to it. So before I ask ARM to receive the report from the Consultants Committee, I want to thank all of those who've offered their unstinting help in a situation that we hadn't anticipated. I'd like to thank our BMA professional staff, my fellow officers, and the committee for their help and their wisdom. They deserve individual thanks, but time constrains me to move on, so I offer them all my sincere gratitude. This year's been a mixed year. There have been some real low points, and perhaps the Bauer-Garber case was one of them, and it's wide-reaching in its potential damage. It affects all of us, and consultants are not exempt from that. As part of our response, we've published guidance designed to support consultants working in an environment of unbearable systemic pressure. And this guidance can help consultants protect themselves from the fear of being criminalised if they're asked to work in unsafe systems, and also to help them to protect their junior and SAS doctor colleagues. And I'm proud to say that we wrote that guidance in close consultation with both JDC and SASC and with our colleagues in other national committees. And looking forward, it's very much the firm intention of our committee that we should work even more closely with our colleagues in other branches of practice to represent hard-working doctors out in the real world. I'm a great believer in collegiate working. It's important that we learn from the skills and knowledge which our colleagues in sister committees across the association have fought hard to develop. Their dogged resistance, their determination, their resolve, their unity of purpose, as well as their skill and expertise in developing and navigating their close working relationships with their counterparts in various arms of government, are to be learnt from and admired. Because in working and learning together, we are more effective, we make ourselves more expert, and we make ourselves more relevant to our members. And we, as the BMA, we must ensure that we remain maximally relevant to doctors, the changing realities of their working lives, and the changing demographics of the workforce that we comprise must be represented within our structures and represented properly. We must work more closely with our hard-working LNCs and regional committees to ensure that our structures are fit for purpose and that we're arming our local reps with the tools and knowledge to fight back when they need to. And believe me when I say that it's by being more visible, more active and more relevant to our members that we will remain a powerful voice for all doctors. This session, the Consultants Committee has secured an agreement to ensure that local clinical excellence awards continue to be a substantial part of consultants' pay in England. The future for local CEAs hasn't always been certain, and the process to settle it has been a far from straightforward one. Indeed, at one point, we were threatened with complete removal of awards or a complete change of the system. And in addition, we know that some employers have failed to run rounds for new awards, and that meant that investment was bleeding out of the consultant pay envelope over time. As a committee, we found that totally unacceptable, and so we took legal action to uphold our right, which eventually led us to a negotiated settlement, which unequivocally establishes the long-term contractual status of CEAs in England. Crucially, all trusts in England are now obliged to run award rounds each year, and to ensure that the CEA monies must be spent on awards for hard-working consultants and not diverted elsewhere. I'm hoping that all employers will behave responsibly, but we should be clear. As of April this year, any trust in England refusing to run an award round will be in breach of their employment contract with consultants, and the BMA will take action to support its members if need be. We expect that wider contract negotiations will shortly resume, and we aim to conclude those negotiations later this year or more likely early 2019. I also confirm to you, as was agreed at this conference last year, once the Consultants Committee has seen and approved the final offer, that offer will be put to a ballot of members, including trainees at ST3 level and above, and specialty doctors on the specialist register, and they will have an opportunity to approve or decline it. And there are a few final points I want to make. A new contract cannot be just any negotiated settlement. It must be a deal that we want. Above all, it must be a fair deal. But be clear what I mean when I say fair. After 10 years of pay restraint, our expectations have changed. And a fair deal needs to reflect that and reflect the value that consultants bring to the health service. A cost-neutral deal will not do. Every day, consultants prop up a service on its knees and make a vast difference to the lives of the patients they serve. And like all of you, consultants need to be properly valued and properly rewarded. RB, I move.